Hello and welcome to the FilmPulse.net podcast. This is episode number 89. My name is Adam. Today we're joined by Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing all right.
First up today, we'll be speaking with actor, writer, horror fanatic Tal Zimerman on his film project, Why Horror, which is currently funding on Kickstarter. Then we'll be going over some of what we've been watching, and finally we'll be going over this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand and DVD and Blu-ray releases. Don't have a feature review lined up today, but we do have, I think, a good number of horror movies to talk about for the holiday season, as I like to call it. Let's kick things off with a conversation with Tal Zimerman, talk about some horror movies, along with a little documentary called Why Horror, which he has currently funding on Kickstarter. Let's do it. Tal, thanks so much for taking some time to talk with us. I figured we'd start with an easy one. Why horror?
That's the name of the movie. Why horror? That's what we're trying to find out. Everybody's got a different reason for watching horror, for making horror, for taking part in the whole thing. Some of those reasons are personal. Some of those reasons are, because their friends do it. Some of those reasons, I find a lot of the time when I ask people about horror, they say, I had this uncle that was way into horror, or I had this, the cool kid up the street would show up with Famous Monsters magazines to school, and that's where it started for me. So everybody's got a different way in and a different sort of thing that they see in it, which is really, really exciting.
So the documentary, does it focus on movies, or does it also get into other aspects of horror, like comic books, video games, that type of thing? Yeah,
it's broad. It goes into all kinds of media, really. And obviously, you can't talk about horror without talking about movies, because that's the most widespread way that people get their horror. But right. Yeah, it definitely goes. We talk about comic books, tattoos, even all different kinds of stuff. Literature, TV shows, breakfast cereals, everywhere that it exists. We're trying to sort of peel it back a little bit and look at what's underneath it all. Because back in the day, before TV, before movies, there was horror. So where did what we consume and watch now, where did that come from? And that's what we're asking.
Yeah. And what, for you personally, what do you think your introduction into horror was? Like, why does horror speak to you so much?
Interesting question. Again, because we're going so deep with this documentary, I could tell you, all the stuff that I was into as a kid, but I don't know if that necessarily answers the question as concisely as I would like to. I mean, as a kid, I was way into dinosaurs. A lot of kids are into dinosaurs and sharks and cobras and sort of predatory creatures with big fangs that I don't know, somehow as a little kid you think that's cool. You want that power, you somehow you associate with the things that are, sharp fangs and all that stuff. And like I said before, I had an uncle with a box of Famous Monsters magazines, and I found it under his bed one day, and I was like, "Holy crap, what is this stuff?" And it took me forever to really kind of get into the movies, because I was a huge chicken as a kid. I was really, I could look at pictures of Dracula, and I even spent a couple of Halloweens as Count Dracula, but becoming the horror fan that I was really started with looking at books and that box of Famous Monsters magazines. And eventually, when I sort of came of age, I started renting movies, and I watched Dawn of the Dead, and it was like a shot of white light. It was incredible. It was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen, and I still watch it a couple times a year. I'm 38 now, and this is back when I was 12. So
it's so funny that this movie comes up, because I'm a huge horror fan too. I'm like borderline obsessed with horror as well. And just recently, my girlfriend asked me, like, why do you like horror movies so much? Like, I don't understand why this is. And it actually made me think about it, like, wait a minute, why do I like horror so much? Because, I go to conventions, I do all kinds of stuff. A lot of the reporting that we do on the site is with horror movies and stuff. So it kind of made me think about why I like horror movies so much. And it's not as easy to pinpoint, as you might think. It's not like one thing where it's like, oh, I discovered this one movie, because I think back to my childhood, and I did also have a family member that was into horror, and I was never allowed to watch any of the movies, but I would try to sneak down and put them in the VHS player. And I remember watching a TV edit of A Nightmare on Elm Street and being so horrified by it, I couldn't sleep for days. And I think back, and it's like there were all these things that like scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. So why do I like horror so much now?
You couldn't
Like,
sleep for days, but I bet you couldn't wait to get back too, right?
yeah. That's the thing. It was like it was almost like I was kind of subconsciously trying to conquer this fear, and as a result, it made me like so into this genre.
Yeah, well, you said it right there. It's almost like, you survive the experience, and it's almost like the thrill of surviving it makes you go back for more. And some people are way into that, and some people aren't. And there's a personality difference there. It's like through talking with not only filmmakers and artists and authors, but we're also talking with psychologists on this project too. And some like horror and some don't like horror. And the things that they have to say are very enlightening. And I don't want to spoil the movie, but I will say that there's a personality issue at play here. There's something about curious people, about people who want to confront these things, but do so in a safe environment. I mean, we like horror, but we don't necessarily, like death. We're not going to pour through the news and get all excited when there's like a mass killing in some country or we read about serial killers. Like, that's not where it is for us. It's almost like essential to the experience is the contract between the creator and the person taking it in that says this is artificial. What you're about to see is not real. And then we can let our guard down and really get into it. But if you're presented with something that is real, you don't want to look at it. I find that a lot of horror fans, the people I hang with are genuinely sensitive people. They're not into death. They're not into the themes that horror explores, but they're into the exploration of those themes by creative means.
What I want to do is maybe if you could talk about some of the people that you do interview, because you mentioned that you talk to psychologists, filmmakers. I was wondering if you could just give us an idea of who is going to be in this.
Sure. Well, as a horror fan, these are bucket list interviews. These are people that I really got to put on my game face when I talk to them. George Romero, I got to sit down with for a half an hour and talk to him. And I don't even remember the conversation. I remember it because we recorded it, but beyond that, my heart rate was up. I was freaking out. This is somebody who I worshipped my, entire adult life and, early teenage life. We got John Carpenter at a convention really briefly, but we got him. He's a very astute horror observer. Steve Niles, the writer behind 30 Days of Night and several other incredible things you may have read. Nat Jones, who's a visual artist. My friend Gary Pullen, who's also a visual artist. Chris Alexander, the editor-in-chief at Fangoria. Dave Alexander, the editor-in-chief at Rue Morgue magazine up here in Canada. Rodrigo Godinho, who started Rue Morgue. Barbara Crampton, Don Coscarelli. And we still have stuff to shoot. We still want to do a little bit of traveling, which is why we're trying to raise money.
And you also, according to the list here, you also got Ben Wheatley and Eli Roth, too?
That's right. Ben Wheatley, Eli Roth, Alex Adja is going to be in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Big fan.
Yeah, Ben was great to talk to because he's got a very sort of wry way about him. He kind of smiles out of the corner of his mouth when he's talking. And he's, he seems to have the whole thing, this whole horror craziness really sort of, he's got his own view of it, and it's really interesting and enlightening to have spoken with him.
Have you checked out A Field in England? Have you seen that?
I haven't. No, it was playing here at the Toronto International Film Festival, and I haven't seen it, but it's on the list. I loved Kill List. Speaking of lists, Kill List was just a nightmare of a movie. It had just a disturbing, unpredictable, incredible, strange fever dream of a movie.
Now, I want to talk about what you were discussing just previously about the horror community, because I think that is a huge part of the genre of horror. I mean,
Yeah.
I go to a convention in Orlando every year, and it's this giant horror convention. And
Yeah.
the thing about horror is that it seems like horror, above all other genres of film, video games, whatever, has this such a tight knit,
Yeah.
loyal community of fans. Is that something that you've observed over the years?
Most definitely. I mean, we don't really have the genre cachet that other genres might have. You know, Star Wars doesn't need a support system holding it up. Horror does. You know, and you could go on and on with sort of all the stuff that, you know, the more popular fan type of movements, and horror doesn't really have a system in place. So you got to do it yourself. You got to start your own horror club in your town and watch it grow, and that's why that has come to be.
I also wanted to go back to a thing that you mentioned about how horror fans are not especially into death, or they don't have the kind of morbid fixation that people might think that they have. For you, are there certain films that you tend to avoid, like particularly gruesome, or maybe films that seem too real? Like, I'm thinking of something like
Henry, or
maybe Henry, or like Necromantic, or like films that just are like, no, I'm not into that.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, my personal taste definitely more lie towards the fantastic. So I'm a zombie movie fan. I know that that all the kids are doing that now, but really it's been something that's been a big part of my life for 25 years or so now. Yeah, I would say stuff that's, you know, true crime based isn't so much my bag, which isn't to say that I don't watch it, but I definitely don't gravitate towards it like I would with other kind of films. The Snowtown, when Snowtown came out, a friend of mine saw it and said, "Oh my God, you've got to see this movie. You'll be depressed for 2 weeks." Now that's not necessarily what I look for in a movie watching experience. And I don't fault anybody for that kind of stuff. And I think that there are several films of that nature that are very good. Like I mentioned Henry already, which I think is a great movie, but I have no need to revisit it. Yeah, I don't know. That's how it is for me anyway. I like more fantasy-based stuff personally. And I definitely sort of don't necessarily gravitate to more reality-based kind of films.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, I just reviewed a movie called My Name is A by Anonymous, which is a very micro-budget, incredibly disturbing horror film by a director named Shane Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me, just because I watched it so recently, it just made me think about the type of horror movies that I like.
Yeah.
And the type that really just get under my skin, that I just can't get behind. Like a Serbian film is a good example of that, where I actually haven't seen that movie. I've seen certain clips of it, and I know enough about it to know, like, nah, that's not my thing.
Not your vibe. I really like the Serbian film for one reason or another. I saw it with an audience in a theater, and I think that, you know, had I been watching it alone, like I watched Irreversible by myself at 2 a.m. Years ago, and I still can't wash the experience off my skin, you know. A Serbian film, it somehow goes just a little too far, so that it almost is like, okay, this is getting a little silly now. You don't want to necessarily call a Serbian film silly and hope to appear sane in certain companies, but yeah, I think you know what I'm saying, because I definitely know what you're saying there.
Yeah. I want to talk about some of maybe your favorite horror movies of the year, some highlights. I mean, being that it's Halloween, people are probably going to be looking for some new horror movies to watch this season. What were maybe some of the highlights for you this year?
There's a film out of Argentina called Here Comes the Devil. I think it's out on Blu-ray, DVD at this point. It's fantastic. It's if you like the sort of 80s Euro stuff, 70s and 80s Euro stuff, it's really in that vein. It kind of reminds me of a film that the film that Mario Bava would have made after Shock. Definitely has that vibe to it. I saw The Green Inferno, Eli Roth's The Green Inferno, and if you're a fan of Roth, you'll really like it, and if not, you will probably just scratch your head. But I will say that the gore is absolutely outrageous. And if you're familiar with the sort of reference points that Roth touches on, then you will definitely have a smile on your face seeing certain scenes recreated from the Cannibal classics for The Green Inferno, albeit, with his own touch.
So that's kind of like his homage to like Cannibal Ferox or Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh yeah, totally. He credits all those movies in the credits, like saying, "Hey, if you like Green Inferno, watch all these, goofy Italian movies that I cribbed from."
I would imagine that there's a lot less animal killing in Green Inferno, though.
That's what's interesting about it, is that I don't want to give too much away here, but there's one scene in Cannibal Holocaust. It's the scene that people talk about that was sort of replaces one of the animals with a human, almost shot for shot. And it's like, if you've seen Cannibal Holocaust, you'll know what I'm talking about once you see The Green Inferno.
Yeah, I know exactly. Unfortunately, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, instead of poor creature there, it's a less innocent human in where a turtle should be. There, I said it. Spoiler.
Animal killing on screen is always rough.
Yeah, I'm not so down with that. I remember when I was, I guess would have been 92. I used to work in this alternative video store here in Toronto, and the 92 Christmas party, the boss gave me a big box VHS of Make Them Die Slowly, and it took me and then I refused to see Cannibal Holocaust after that. I didn't want to bother, and then eventually I did, and I love it, but I can't. It's There's no place for that, really. It happened, so you can watch it now, knowing that it happened and that it was part of a crazy time of filmmaking. But if that sort of trend pops up again, I'm out. I'm not into that at all.
And I can't see that happening.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, me neither.
Any other big highlights for the year?
What did I see? You see so much that it kind of all blends together.
Did you see the Maniac remake?
Oh yeah, I like that a lot. I like Maniac a lot.
I was surprised. I was surprised by that one.
I'm a big fan of POV movies. I'm a big fan of inner monologue kind of movies, where you can hear when you can hear the thoughts of someone who's slowly starting to lose their grip on reality. Films like Taxi Driver and.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought one of the interesting things they did in that movie was the fact that the entire movie was POV, but when he actually killed someone, it pulled out.
Yeah.
As if he was looking at himself, from afar. I thought that was such an interesting dynamic. What about one of my favorites is a little indie film called Resolution. Have you checked this one out?
Yeah, I saw Resolution last year at the Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal, and I was very impressed by that. What a fascinating conceit that you get a knock on the door, and there's a tape there, and you put the tape in the player, and it's like someone was watching you like literally 30 seconds before, kind of thing. Like, just so freaky and really well done. I mean, for a two-hander, it was pretty exceptional. The mileage they got from the relationship between the two characters. I thought it was really, really interesting. Really good movie. I definitely recommend it. Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to think. There were some lowlights too. I mean, I didn't like the Evil Dead remake. Not that you asked, but I'm offering my opinion on the Evil Dead remake because I didn't like it.
I saw that at the South by Southwest premiere with everybody there and everything, and that was an interesting experience because when I saw it there with the audience and like the whole cast there, I loved it. And then I saw it again in my local multiplex, and it was like the town where I'm from is just, they didn't get it, and it was like dead silent the whole time. Yeah. And the experience was like completely different. Yeah. Viewing it in that atmosphere. Yeah. I didn't appreciate it nearly as much.
That was like the first Hostel I saw at the world premiere here in Toronto. and people were going crazy, and I was going crazy, and I thought it was, tons of fun. And I don't dislike Hostel, but I definitely couldn't see it through the same eyes on repeated viewings. I do like Hostel quite a bit, but I was freaking out when I first saw it, and then I watched it again on DVD a couple months after it came out, and I thought, wait a minute, this is not the same at all.
Any other ones that you would tell people to avoid this holiday?
I don't want to. It's hard. Like The Conjuring, I didn't love.
Wow.
I thought that it was the same haunted house movie that I've seen 1,000 times before. It was basically like, I don't know, a remake of Insidious, which is a remake of Poltergeist in a way. It was okay. A lot of those movies are very much technique over concept. You know that there's a ghost and that they're trying to warn the people in the house, or do something to them, and then wheel in the psychic, wheel in the guys with the spectrometers, and you see it over and over again. And as much as I like James Wan as a filmmaker, and I really do, I just am kind of getting tired of that old chestnut.
Well, that was exactly how I felt about Insidious Chapter 2.
Yeah, which I haven't seen.
I was not on board with that one whatsoever.
Yeah.
Have you checked out Curse of Chucky?
No. A friend of mine recommended it, saying it's fucking dark, is what his review was.
Yeah, it's definitely they kind of do away with the tongue-in-cheek comedy of the last two, and go back to the roots. But it's pretty interesting. If you're into the original Child's Play series, I would say you might want to check it out.
I don't know if I'm necessarily into the original Child's Play series. I saw the first couple of them theatrically when they came out, and the late '80s were a weird time for theatrical horror. Anyway, as it became the '90s, and it was more joke based and charming personality based than actually trying to scare you. So you'll forgive me if I haven't seen the last couple of Chuckies, but a couple people now have recommended the new one to me, so don't see why I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, it's worth like a rental,
Yeah,
video on demand or whatever.
Sure.
What is your, now you mentioned before that you kind of like the fantastical horror movies. What is your favorite kind of subgenre of horror?
It's got to be zombies. I got to go with zombies. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily the most consistent genre, but my favorite films are zombie movies. And
me too, actually.
It's like it's hard to watch now, and I'm a Walking Dead fan. I'm definitely into that show, so it kind of gives me something to do every week in that sort of vein. It reminds me a lot of Day of the Dead, actually, The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do like my zombies, man. I'm not gonna lie. But my tastes really go pretty wide, truth be told.
The first website I ever ran was a zombie website that was focused on everything zombie. So
what was it called?
It was called ZombieNet, and it was
nice.
It ran for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love everything zombie. I like the horror, the survival aspects of it. I think that's what really pulls me into that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, me too.
we actually just checked out The Dead 2 India.
You saw
at
that?
Screamfest in LA. I didn't see it, unfortunately. One of my writers did, but
what did he say? Because I quite liked the first one.
Yeah, he said it was quite good. Like we have a review up for that, and we actually were able to interview the director as well.
Oh, nice.
Or one of the directors. So
nice. Yeah, I like the first one was cool, man. It was it really got the atmosphere, right? You know how what I really liked about the first one is that no matter where the action was, off in the distance there was a zombie somewhere just kind of walking along. It really gave you the impression that all this stuff was going down, which was cool.
Yeah, and apparently that movie was like incredibly hard for them to shoot. Like the one crew member got malaria.
Yeah.
Apparently they got held up at gunpoint several times.
They kept having to rebuy their equipment off like mercenary squads that would steal it from them.
Yeah, I mean that's insane. So I'm very interested to check out the second one, but maybe we could talk about some perks of the Kickstarter project.
Yeah,
and get back to that. So maybe we could highlight some of the different perks available.
Sure. I don't have all the information in front of me. You're gonna have to go check out our website, whyhorror.com, which will bring you to a link to the Kickstarter campaign. But we got T-shirts and DVDs, and a friend of mine, Gary Pullen, who does a lot of poster art, did up a little teaser poster for us. So one of the perks is you get a poster, a conversation with me on the phone. I know you can hardly resist that, and you're getting one for free right now, so it's pretty good.
Yeah,
We're about to add a new perk, which is a kind of a little local tour with me on famous shooting locations in Toronto. You'll get to see the house where Black Christmas was filmed, and the building that was a sort of media office and Videodrome and shooting locations of Land of the Dead. And we tootle around for an afternoon and talk horror and check out these things and go eat some guts somewhere.
Great. And also, the other one that I'm seeing here is pass to TIFF 2014, which I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in, especially with the Midnight Madness.
Yeah, that's right.
Series.
You get a Midnight Madness pass, which is such an incredibly fun festival that I've been going to for, a dozen years. That it's really ground zero for a lot of the stuff you're going to hear about later in the year. A lot of really important deals get inked at that festival. So to be there where it starts is, I got to say, from personal experience, a really, really great perk.
Have you? Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to TIFF this year, but were there any highlights? I know you mentioned Green Inferno.
Yep.
Any highlights from the Midnight Madness series?
I really liked Mike Flanagan's Oculus. Mike Flanagan, the director of Absentia, which is a total sleeper hit, which I loved. Oculus is quite creepy, quite well made. Almost Human, made by Joe Vegas and a bunch of other dudes, and that was really cool. That was very much like sort of Terminator meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets The Thing meets Extro. These like young dudes, 25, 26 years old, who made a really solid horror movie and are showing it all over the world right now. So I'm pretty sure IFC picked that up, and you'll be able to see it through them.
Yep, I think you're right.
I liked All Cheerleaders Die, the Lucky McKee flick. Let's see, Alex de la Iglesia's Witching and Bitching was typical insanity from that director. And I was doing a lot of shooting for this, so I didn't get to enjoy the festival as I normally would. I was actually working quite a bit. Shot 12 or 15 interviews over the course of the festival. That's where we talked to Ben Wheatley and cool. Eli Ross and Alex Adja, who was here with Horns, which wasn't part of the Midnight Madness program.
I think that was like a Vanguard, maybe.
That's right. It was in the Vanguard program, which is programmed by the same guy that programs Midnight Madness.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of kind of crossover. A lot of the Vanguard stuff looks like it is more dark and edgy and that type of thing. So,
yeah, definitely acts as kind of a spillover from the Midnight Madness kind of thing.
Yeah, madness, definitely. All the ones that you mentioned are ones that I was particularly interested in, and I also wanted to see Why Don't You Play in Hell? That was one that really interested me.
I heard nothing but good things, man. I heard everybody buzzing about that one, and I thought, darn, what a movie to miss of all the movies.
Was it? I think maybe Draft House Films picked that up.
Yeah, could be.
I think they did.
They were definitely here looking for stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that one as well. So, all right. Well, again, the film is Why Horror, funding now on Kickstarter. You have a $30,000 goal. That's Canadian.
That's right.
And you have 24 days to go. So we'll be sure to put the links in the show notes and all that fun stuff. So, yes, Tal, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us.
My pleasure, man. Thanks so much for reaching out and letting me babble about horror.
Thanks again, Tal. Be sure to hit the link in the show notes and donate to Why Horror today. All right, let's get into some of what we've been watching. I had a pretty big week. Let me tell you about this week, Kevin.
This is good. Good times.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick with nothing but horror because it's Halloween. I love this time of year. The season's changing, the leaves are changing. There's a little chill in the air. Time for some horror movies. Got totally burnt out like 2 days in.
Oh, and that's not good.
I had to have some palate cleansers in there.
Oh.
Yeah, so didn't do all horror, but I did see a lot of stuff. Started off with A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. I'm sorry, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. There's no the.
No, they're just there.
Yeah, now this is kind of an ongoing project I'm doing this Halloween. I'm watching all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets in order.
Okay.
And I've been watching about two a week. So I'm on part 3, and this is the one. See, I haven't seen a lot of these later ones. I think I only saw part 1, 2, and then the last one. So I was excited to watch this because this is the one where the group of kids actually band together and go into the dream world and set out to fight Freddy. This one stars Patricia Arquette, along with John Saxon, who was in the first one as well, and Heather Langenkamp, who's in the first one. It's pretty good. I mean, it was certainly better than part 2. I really didn't like part 2. This was a lot better.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to say about it. If you're into Nightmare on Elm Street, check it out. Seems to be one of the better ones, but I can't really judge it against a lot of the other ones because I haven't seen many of them. So we'll have to wait and see how it stacks up against the rest of the series.
I think this is something that I'm gonna have to revisit as well.
Yeah, like
I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street since I was like a preteen.
the first one's still great. Like I stand by that. Like the effects work and stuff in the first one is still really good, and a lot of it holds up for the most part. Some of it doesn't, but you know, very early role by Johnny Depp in the first one, which is always interesting to see.
Does he play a quirky character?
He plays the boyfriend.
Is he strange and quirky?
No, he's not. He's a cool guy. So.
Darn it.
Yeah, I followed that up with Clear and Present Danger, starring Harrison Ford.
Fuck yeah, you did. Fuck yeah.
I never saw this movie before.
Well, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know.
Because this movie is the shit.
It is the shit. I actually like this a lot. What I'm doing is...
This is honestly one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. I loved this movie so much.
I loved it when they said it poses a clear and present danger
That's
in
right.
the movie. And I was like, oh shit.
Whatever happened to the titular line? That
I
used
don't
to be
know.
like a whole thing, like you would just wait for the entire movie for them to say it.
Yeah.
They don't do it anymore.
They do it sometimes. I can't remember the last one I saw that
I
had
was
that.
I was waiting for it in We Are What We Are. I was just waiting for someone to say We Are What We Are.
It seems like, yeah, that seems like it should have happened.
Damn it.
Missed an opportunity there.
You sure did.
So what I did this week was I rewatched all the Jack Ryan series, I guess. With the new one coming out, I wanted to refresh myself on these movies. And I don't think I'm the only person, but I did not know, at least up until maybe a year ago, that all these movies were the same character. Like, I had no idea. I thought that they were just all separate. So I wanted to watch them all, so I did. And I liked them all pretty much. Some of All Fears was not great.
Oh, we need Ryan back.
I know, he loves Some of All Fears.
He was all about that.
But I did watch all of them. So I watched Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games, Hunt for Red October, and Some of All Fears.
Nice. Yeah, I was a huge fan of Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games.
Yeah, they're both pretty great.
And I have not rewatched them because I'm afraid that I'm not going to like them.
They hold up. Let me
So
tell you.
I don't want to sully that. I just love the whole rocket launcher scene with the SUVs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Oh man. I'm gonna watch some Clear and Present Danger, and then Patriot Games, and then follow it up with The Last Boy Scout.
Oh, Last Boy Scout. Yeah,
Just
I'd
rummage
to
through my
revisit that one.
childhood. Oh man, I'm so excited now.
Yeah, these are all good. Hunt for Red October is really good too. Like, not too long ago, I revisited Crimson Tide, and I like that a lot too. So,
Yeah, those are two movies that I don't remember anything about.
yeah, see, I forgot. I did see Hunt for Red October years ago, and I forgot everything about it. So when I rewatched it, it was pretty great. I mean, in that one, Alec Baldwin plays Jack Ryan, and it was a white knuckle thrill ride.
Oh yeah,
For some reason, submarine movies, it's like they have to be white knuckle thrill rides.
I'm just I'm surprised they haven't come back yet.
No, they really haven't. They really haven't.
I'm gonna lay out a prediction right now that next year is gonna be the year of the submarine movies.
The resurgence of the
hmm
submarine
I mean,
movie.
you're not gonna see them. You're just gonna hear a lot of news.
Mm.
Bunch of submarine movies getting greenlit. I can
Hmm.
feel it.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But either way, like these movies are really hard for me to kind of criticize because they're just like as I was watching them, I was just like, oh, there's nothing really bad to say about them. I mean, they're not like mind blowing or anything, but they just felt like they were so of their time.
They're great Hollywood action films that are not put it frankly, they're not stupid.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like they're actually quite complex in the story. Like there's all kinds of twists and turns. There's people double crossing each other. There's different governments going against each other, and it's fun because it's so rare that you see those types of movies nowadays. Because
Oh yeah.
now it's
Hollywood's
all
just obsessed with explosions
yeah,
now.
it's all about like the Bourne series, where it's just 90% action, 10% kind of political thriller.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely recommend going back because they do really hold up. Like the effects work and stuff like that really holds
Yes.
up over time. Then I saw My Name Is A by Anonymous, this was a film submitted to us, and it's pretty disturbing. I'll say that right off the bat. It's based on a true story about the murder of a young girl, and it is sort of an art house film in the same vein as Harmony Korine. So you can probably imagine the dark places it goes. And
Okay.
it's told in chapters, and there's three sets of characters, and it kind of goes over the lives of each of these characters. They're all girls, and they all have very terrible lives. A few of them are being sexually abused by their fathers. One of them is bulimic, and you get to see that in all its glory. And I think she might be bulimic in real life, so that
Wow.
makes it even worse.
Wow.
And it's a really really hard movie to get through. There's a lot of artistic flourishes that the director Shane Ryan uses in the film that I appreciated, but at the same time, it's like he just throws everything into this, like everything that you can imagine. Like sometimes he flips the camera upside down, sometimes the aspect ratio changes. He uses different cameras. Like sometimes he'll use like a snap like a point and shoot camera in video mode.
Yeah.
He uses all different cameras. He puts all these different filters on it. He'll flip it upside down. He does like weird framing choices. Like it's just like he wanted to throw everything. All the art house indie tropes are in this movie. Everything.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
Some of it worked, some of it didn't. There were which is really funny because the movie is really inconsistent in that way. Like it one scene you'll see it and you'll be like, wow, that looks really great, and then the next scene you're just like, ugh, it's horrible. Like there's one scene where it's essentially a music video. It's just one of the characters singing in front of a microphone for literally the whole song. So it's like 4 minutes of her just singing this song.
Sounds like filler.
Yeah, it is. I think it is filler, but the song is really beautiful, and she's a great singer, and she's a Russian singer and model, I think, in real life. And so the song is beautiful. The way that it's shot looks really good, but the whole time you're just like, why is this in here? I didn't. It felt pointless to me. I mean, I understand the singing wanting to put that in there because she's called the performer. That's her character name.
Yeah.
But to have the whole song in there seems unnecessary. So it's really hard for me to recommend this movie. And also, I read that there was quite a backlash around this movie with the family and friends of the girl that was actually killed,
Mm.
because the movie doesn't focus on the girl, the victim. It focuses on the killers. And in real life, there was actually only one killer. It was one girl that killed another girl. But in this movie, it's actually four girls. And I think
Okay.
my guess, and a lot of this movie can be interpreted different ways. It's that kind of movie. My guess is that the director took this one girl and kind of took the personality traits of this girl and split it up into 4 different characters. So essentially, it's these 4 characters that are acting as one.
Oh,
I can't.
clever.
Well, I mean, that's just what I took from it. It might
I
not
gotcha.
be. It might not be that at all, but that's what I
Gotcha.
took away from it. So, My Name is A by Anonymous. It's not out yet on DVD or VOD, but I think it's going to be coming out sometime soon. Just be aware that it is extremely hard to watch.
You've been warned.
Yes. Another movie that I watched that was pretty hard to get through was Abel Ferrara's The Driller Killer.
The Driller Killer.
Yeah, this I picked this for my Grindhouse Weekly, and this is a tough movie to get through. This came out in 1979, extremely low budget movie. This is one of his very first movies, and it stars him. He stars in it as well. And basically, it's about an artist in New York City who kind of goes crazy and starts killing people with a power drill.
All right. Thus becoming the Driller Killer?
Yep. I saw
okay.
it's interesting because when I was writing the article, I briefly wrote, like, if you've seen the 1980 version of Maniac or American Psycho, you'll see a lot of similarities in this, and it made me think, like, actually there's a ton of similarities between this and American Psycho. It's both movies take place in New York in this around the same time period. The only difference is that this movie takes place in kind of the gritty underbelly of New York,
Oh, okay.
and the other one takes place in the upper class Wall Street area of New York.
Yeah. But are they both still obsessed with Huey Lewis and the News?
Well, that's the interesting thing. So
Are they?
Patrick Bateman is obsessed with 80s pop, like the kind of upbeat, fun, yuppie type music. But the character in this movie is into punk rock. So he's into like the dirty, gritty, grimy type of rock music that was popular at the time.
So they just made American Psycho a Bizarro, the Driller Killer.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it's very similar. Like in American Psycho, he starts by killing homeless people. Same thing as in this movie. They both have a penchant for power tools.
Okay. Okay.
And just the overall personality traits of both people are very similar. Like they kind of go crazy for no real reason, no good reason. They just go crazy. Like just their lives make them go crazy. And so yeah, it's very similar. Followed that up with Toy Story of Terror, which was the special that aired on ABC this week. I like this a lot. I didn't think I was going to think too much of it, because normally these either straight-to-video or TV sequels or whatever you want to call them are pretty generic, Like they never really have the same quality as the movies.
Yeah.
But this one does. I mean, they got the whole voice cast from all the other Toy Story movies. So you have Tim Allen and Tom Hanks, Michael Keaton, Joan Cusack, Carl Weathers is in it, and he plays an action figure named Combat Carl.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's pretty great. I mean, I was surprised. Like the level, the quality of the animation is on par with anything we've seen from Pixar, and the story is really fun. It's a short story. It's only like 20 minutes long, but I definitely recommend it if you're into the Toy Story movies.
Yeah, this is the one time that I really wish I had TV.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. You should definitely check that out. Not too much to say about it. I mean, it is.
It's Toy Story.
Yeah, it's just Toy Story.
Which means it's awesome.
And obviously it has a Halloween feel to it, which is really funny because the one character, I can't remember his name. I think his name's Prickle Pants. He's just going over all of the horror movie cliches, and like everything is happening as he's saying them, and they're kind of in their own little horror story, it's really fun. It's very good. Then I saw Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless.
Wow, that seems completely out of place.
I told you I was needing I was definitely in need of some palate cleansers.
I like how the only time that you go to French New Wave is as a palate cleanser.
Yeah,
I
that's my
find that
palate.
odd.
That's my palate cleanser.
Oh,
Well,
God.
I've been meaning to watch this for a long time, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I was never in the mindset, and I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for some French New Wave. Let's do it. And I liked it a lot. I guess I was a little disappointed because this is one of these movies where it's just got so much hype around it. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Oh, it's one of the greatest movies ever made," and I was a little disappointed. I don't know what I was expecting.
One of the main things that's difficult about it is like the context. Like in the 1960 when this film came out and the French New Wave came out, it was just like a completely new way of making a movie. Like
Right.
they had this whole blueprint of how they made movies that was completely different than anyone's seen. So when you watch it now, I mean the movie itself, even though it's great, there's not a lot in it that's like blows you away,
No.
like story-wise or anything.
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing. Like, it was just kind of an aimless movie. Like, it's just the event takes place. You know, this guy kills a cop in the very beginning of the movie, and then he's on the run, but he's not really on the run, is he?
Yeah, not really.
He's just hanging
He's-
out.
Dude, he's too cool to be on the run.
It is a very cool movie. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that. It's a very like the jazz score and everything that they wear. It's funny because it feels like it's almost timeless. You know, like the clothes that they're wearing. Like what's her name? What's the main actress's name? Lead actress.
Seberg?
Gene
Mm.
Seberg.
Yeah.
Like her haircut, she feels very like she was kind of at the forefront of the feminist movement and stuff, and she's beautiful in this movie too. Like it's rare that I'm really kind of taken aback by how beautiful an actress is in a movie, but I was like completely amazed at how good she looked in this movie. I mean, she was enchanting.
Someone stole your heart.
Yeah, I'm
Gene
smitten.
Seberg from 1960. Time traveled.
Yeah.
Stole your heart.
Unfortunately, she's dead, so can't really.
Yep, nothing's gonna.
I mean,
transpire
I
there.
didn't. It wasn't like I'm gonna go watch all her other movies now. I just felt like in this role she was very very beautiful.
She does carry the film quite well, alongside Belmondo.
Yeah, I mean,
Which
I
is-
I don't want to say I didn't like it or anything. I did like it quite a bit. I think it's funny how sometimes things happen in movies that force you to make a stylistic change. Like in this case, you know, they told Godard that he had to cut the movie down, so he just made edits. Like, he just flat out cut things, and by doing so, it basically created the style of the movie.
Mhm.
You know, like all those jump cuts. I don't think
Oh yeah,
those
those jump cuts are insane.
those were not in there before they made him cut the movie down.
Yeah,
I will say that, like, at first I thought that the jump cuts were kind of cool, but there's so many that it got a little bit annoying.
yeah. There's a decent amount. I will give you that. Because I had sort of the same thing too. Like at first you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. It's so creative. I love the style. And then
Yeah.
like as further along as the movie goes, you're like, okay, jump cuts. All right.
Yeah,
Start
I mean-
wearing out your welcome pretty quickly here.
Yeah, it's still great though, and I highly recommend seeing it on Criterion because it looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
So definitely check that out if you haven't, especially if you're a fan of like the history of cinema. I think it's
Oh
a
yeah.
must.
I mean, they create an entirely new outline of how to make a film. Dirt cheap and make a shit ton of money doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Breathless, check it out. Follow that up with Escape Plan. It's the new one with
Perfect.
Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. You know, I didn't hate this as much as I thought I would. I like 80s action movies, and this is an 80s action movie. I mean, it takes place today and everything, but this is an 80s action movie. It's got terrible acting, terrible dialogue. The story is utterly ridiculous, but at the same time, it's just really fun. And I enjoyed it. I didn't not like it. I was entertained by it.
Yeah.
It was fun to see Arnold and Stallone in a starring role together. We saw them briefly in the Expendables movies, but Arnold's in so little of those movies.
Yeah.
And I will say that his acting's starting to get a little bit better.
Oh shit.
Like, it's definitely better than, what was the last one he was in? The Last Stand. Definitely better than that. Still not good. Still not good.
Getting there. He's working on it.
It's funny because I was thinking about, he was never a good actor. Let's get that out of the way. But it's like his acting abilities like spiked. Like when he was doing Conan and his really early stuff, he was pretty bad. But then like he eventually started getting pretty good. And then when he stopped acting, it kind of dropped off. Now he's got to get back up there.
Well, he's rusty. He's rusty, man.
Yeah.
He's getting back into the swing of things, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely better in this than that. But with a movie that features Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and 50 Cent, can you expect a lot?
No, you don't. You shouldn't.
Well, I like prison movies, and I like movies that involve prison breaks even more. So it was kind of fun.
Right up your alley.
I'd say it's a light recommend for fans of action films. And then finally, I saw Ghost Team 1, which is playing on demand right now. Found footage horror comedy. We talked about this before, and you made fun of me saying that I was probably going to see it, and I did.
And you probably did not like it, am I correct?
No, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but it did make me laugh. I gave it a 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd because there were several moments that made me laugh out loud, and those were pretty much just little throwaway lines. It's a very crude movie, and that's why I recommended it to Ryan. Very crude, very racist too. Like,
oh, okay.
It goes to some pretty racist levels in a fun way. Like, I don't think that it'd be offensive. They use, I don't know, maybe some Asian people would have a problem with this movie.
It's racist, but in a fun way. Like in a fun.
Well, they even pointed
racist
out,
way.
like they even pointed out, and like the one guy's like, "Dude, that's racist," and it's. I think that you can get away with poking fun at different races if it's a comedy. Like if it's done in jest, I think that it gets more of a pass.
I know that depends on what you're poking fun at.
Yeah, like in this case, it was making fun of Asian people, and there was a scene where a white guy dresses up like he gets possessed by a Vietnamese geisha.
Okay.
And so he basically has on yellow face, sort of.
Okay.
And he like talks in. He actually his voice reminds me of Miss Swan from Mad TV.
Okay.
And was that racist? Was the Miss Swan sketches on Mad TV racist?
A little bit. I'd say a little bit.
But you didn't. I don't think you probably read any reviews condemning Mad TV for being racist.
Well,
Whereas if you read
maybe.
Mike D'Angelo's Dissolve review, he gave it an 18 out of 100.
I want to know where the 18 comes from. That's the first thing that I want to know.
He called it appallingly racist.
How do you come upon 18?
I don't fucking know.
18. That just seems like you're picking it out of a hat.
I don't mean to. That's just the only review that I saw of this movie, so I don't mean to pick on that review. And I think that 18 out of 100 is a completely justifiable score. It's definitely, like, I wouldn't call it I only gave it a 2. And like I said, it was just because it made me laugh several times. And I think that there is some talent here at work. Like, the comedy, I think, it just gets muddled by this kind of goofball frat boy humor. But I think
that'll do it.
Yeah. Well, again, that's why I recommended it to Ryan. I think he'll find it very funny. That's all I got. Well, actually, we are what we are, as well.
Oh, I guess we'll just wait until I get to that.
Yeah,
Is that what we're gonna do?
that's fine.
All right. I finally watched The Conjuring.
Conjuring.
Yeah. You know as well as anyone that I'm a huge James Wan fan, which is me joking. I was excited for this. It truly was. I thought it has to be better than Insidious, just from the way, everyone sort of reacted to it when it first came out. But I also had this expectation that it was going to be something different because that's what I heard from a lot of people. And the only way that it's different for me, which I like this idea, is that it starts out as a haunted house movie and then switches gears halfway through and seamlessly goes into a exorcism movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like having those two together. Makes sense. For the most part, it's not stupid. There's some intellectual thought here. I mean, you can sort of pick apart the story a little bit, but for the most part, it's not your standard horror film where it's just huge gaping plot holes here and there. So it's actually pretty well written. It looks nice. The cinematography is nice. The production design is nice. Everything looks of the time period. But honestly, it's just more of the same for me. Like I wasn't scared at all. The haunted house portion had like a small number of jump scares that again were just lazy. I mean, clapping ghost is not scary to me, or like a ball bouncing, that type of thing. Like none of that got to me. And the worst part is that Insidious, like in the beginning, before it just deteriorated into just a joke, like it had a good atmosphere to it. Like I was generally creeped out in the beginning of Insidious. So I thought like, oh, that's what I'm going to get with The Conjuring. But I didn't get any of that. And then when it goes into the exorcism part, I thought that was just downright terrible. I mean, all they do is like the flipping chair thing, and that's it.
The scene when he goes and she's in like that crawl space or whatever, I thought that was pretty creepy. I didn't find this to be that scary either, which I was maybe it was because I was expecting it to be just the most terrifying thing I've ever seen,
Yeah.
mainly because it's rated R, and this is like the first movie that's been rated R just because of
Which I
because
like
of how
I
scary.
said, remember when this first came out, and I said that was all a marketing ploy.
I don't
Like,
think it. I don't.
I'm pretty sure it was because
Nah.
this was not terrifying at all. I don't.
They-
It's not even close to being an R-rated movie because of how scary it is.
I don't
Unless
think
we've
it-
become a nation of sissies.
But it's
because-
not. I don't think it's a marketing ploy because it's not smart for them to do that. I mean, when you make an R-rated movie, you're pretty much guaranteeing that a large portion of the income is going to be cut. Especially, I mean, that's why a lot of these horror movies are PG-13 to begin with, because you get the whole
Yeah, but
preteen
with-
crowd coming in.
Well, number one, most of those people are still going to get into this film. Number two, you're going to make up for it in your DVD sales and rentals. And
Yeah,
I don't think they really lose that much. And I mean, it's a cheap marketing ploy.
I don't know.
But I mean, honestly, I was thoroughly disappointed, and I'm just completely surprised. Like me and you were talking off air, is like horror's gotten so bad that like if a mediocre film comes out, we just lose our shit because we're in desperate need of good horror, and it's just not there. And I think that's what happened with The Conjuring. We were just sort of like, okay, it looks nice. It has some decent scares in it, and it's not written by like an 8-year-old child. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I think that horror movies are hard. They're hard to make. Like as many as we have that come out every year, and a lot of them are like first-time filmmakers and extremely low budget and blah blah blah. I think making a horror movie is hard because the thing about a horror movie is that it's meant to scare you, and if it's all been done before, how are you going to come up with something new? Like in horror movies, how are you going to make something that is genuinely new? And like I think that that's really hard to do. And I'm not saying that it hasn't been done. And I think a lot of the good horror that's coming out is coming out of the indie scene. I mean, not like,
Well, I think that's the thing. You got to start looking at it differently. You got to come up with something different. You can't. To me, The Conjuring is just cookie cutter. Like as soon as the one kid had, she's laying in bed and she gets her legs pulled from, I was just like, oh my God, we're just gonna rehash everything that's been done for like the last, I don't know, 6 years.
yeah. And
Honestly,
I agree that there isn't a lot in this movie that hasn't been done before, but the thing is, it's done well. I liked a lot of the look of this movie. I thought was great. The
I did
style,
like the look of it.
just like they used a lot of really interesting camera or like framing choices, like the positioning of the camera. A lot of times in this movie is in really interesting places, and
I did enjoyed the framing, some of the like the camera work, technical flourishes that they did where, when she was like looking upside down underneath the bed and
yeah,
how the camera flipped back up. I didn't like that, but I liked the idea behind it. I liked that he was, trying new things. It didn't work for me. Maybe it worked for other people. It didn't work for me, but I at least liked that he was showing me that he's thinking outside the box a little bit. He's trying different things. It's just unfortunately like story wise and everything, I'm just like, man, this is really number one, it's just boring. Number two is I've seen it so many times already.
yeah. Again, I agree, but I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
Just leaps and bounds better than Insidious. I'll give him that.
I think it's
But
James
I was
Wan's
just
best movie, but
I have to say I just wish that he had the atmosphere from the beginning of Insidious. If he was able to bring that to The Conjuring would have been much, much better. I might actually be praising that film. But I didn't, the atmosphere wasn't there for me. Like, I was never worried about being scared. Not only was I not scared, but I never thought that I was going to be scared. Like, it wasn't even a letdown. It's just I
yeah.
knew it wasn't going to happen right off the bat,
I
which is
think
not good for a horror film. You don't want that.
I think maybe what you need to do, like the next time a big horror movie comes out, you need to see it in the theater.
I think see, and that's
wha-
my problem.
Watching a horror movie on your 32-inch TV with the
I know,
volume at 3
yeah.
is not gonna do it.
I know that does take some of it out of it, but the other problem for me is that seeing it in a movie theater, I get sidetracked because I bust up laughing at people freaking out. Like I can't get over it. Like more the first time we went and saw Paranormal Activity. Like if that was an empty theater, I probably would have been creeped out because I liked some of the stuff that they did in it. But the fact that I have a frat boy beside me just like losing his shit, I think he pissed his pants and he's like half crying. It takes me out because I'm just laughing my ass off at this guy beside me.
I think that the atmosphere makes it more fun
Which,
a lot
yeah,
of times.
which I and also to add to that is that's not the movie's fault. The movie was nailing it with that guy beside me, but it affected me because that guy's making me
Well, I
fucking
think
chuckle like crazy.
I think it's a very thin line when you go. I mean,
I
half the
know.
time, anytime you see reaction videos of these horror movies or see reaction videos of people in haunted houses, it's like they'll jump, but then they'll immediately start laughing. Like it's.
Well,
it's a
they
very,
do that
I think
like
it's a very
nervous.
thin.
They do that nervous laugh, like yeah, it did get me. No one saw that, but that guy beside me was crying. Like he was pretty much on the verge of crying. He was hyperventilating.
He was just having a complete nervous breakdown.
Yeah, and I'm not kidding. Like he was, he's like your typical frat boy. It was just hilarious to me.
Mm.
So horror films are difficult to begin with.
They are difficult. I'll give you that.
But I just more of the same for me with The Conjuring.
I
But
think
then I did follow it up with something awesome. Do you know what that awesome was?
no.
It was The Stuff.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff. Larry Cohen classic. Michael
Larry-
Moriarty.
I could honestly talk about this film for an entire day because it's so unbelievably great.
It is great. I
In the
love this
sense
stuff.
that it's just a fucking good time. It's classic 80s. It is a horror film that's, doesn't really try and scare you. to just make you laugh, really.
It's supposed to be funny. I mean, it is definitely a comedy. I think that
Yeah.
it's just a play off of The Blob.
Yes, which I mean, the beginning is one of the greatest beginnings I've ever seen in a film. The miner who there's something wrong with this guy, but he's just out walking for some reason at night in the snow, and just comes across the stuff, just oozing out of the ground, bubbling up, and just decides to eat it immediately. First thought that comes to
Yeah.
his head, I'm
First
gonna
thing.
eat this.
You know what? Let's eat it.
It's marshmallow fluff that's coming out of the ground. I'm gonna eat it. And then the fact that his coworkers are like, "Hey, are you taking a leak?" It's like, "No, nope." And they're like, "Oh, you eating snow?" And then he gets pissed off that they think he's eating snow, which is fantastic. I mean, he literally is just appalled that they would even think that he would be eating snow. Because he's not. He's eating ooze that's fucking coming straight from the ground. Never seen it before. And the fact that he's able to get the other guy to try it when he walks over, and then immediately thinks that, oh, if we have enough of this, we should sell it. That is the greatest origin story I've ever seen. It's just unbelievable. And it just keeps getting better from there. It just snowballs. Michael Moriarty shows up, and he's automatically amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just the decisions he makes throughout this film is just fantastic. This guy is just the shit.
I love his character so much. His character's such a badass. I really
He-
wish that they would make more movies with that character.
He is, you know how I said Diabolik is maybe one of the biggest assholes ever, or the coolest assholes on film?
Mm-hmm.
This guy might be tied.
Yeah.
Michael Moriarty's Mo might be tied. It's close. It's neck and neck. Because this guy just does whatever the fuck he wants to do. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He's so laid back in his gray suit with his cowboy boots. It's just unbelievable. There's just so much going on here. And the weird thing is like I just thought that it was going to be this, goofy film throughout. But there's actually some really good camera work in here. I was completely surprised by. It struck me. The whole when he goes to I can't remember the town in Virginia. Was it like Stadler or something?
I can't remember.
It's like the abandoned town. And as soon as he gets there, that gas station attendant like wants him to use the restroom so bad because he put a towel in there. That was so damn weird. But just to him like walking down the street when he notices Chocolate Chip Charlie's car, just like the dolly work in that was great. I loved it. And then the scene in the hotel room with the stuff tries to kill him, like the whole way they did that was fantastic.
I had some problems with the editing in that movie. I thought that it was kind of
It does get
shoddy.
weird, especially like the effects are bad, but they're good at the same time. Like early on, like when the guy's face explodes and when the stuff comes out of his mouth and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And then they start really making some weird choices at the end. Like when the stuff is filling up one room of the factory and it's Jason and the girl are trying to escape. Like why did they green screen that?
Yeah.
Why
I don't
did they green screen those two why couldn't they just stand in a room filling up with stuff? Like, is it that hard? And they just make so many of those decisions where they decide to green screen it and it looks horrible. But I don't know why they ever made that decision in the first place. Because they do it for such small scenes that they don't need to do it at all. It's not like they're doing something insanely difficult.
know. Yeah.
But it's amazing.
I agree.
Highly recommend it.
I agree.
Dude, it's so much fun. You're gonna have a ridiculous amount of fun. And when Jason, the little boy, when he goes ape shit at the supermarket, and I just love the way that it starts with that kid in the shopping cart, and he just grabs the stuff from him and throws it down, and then tries to run away, and immediately runs into like a tower of cans.
Yeah. There's always got to be a tower of cans.
Oh my god! And a kid always has to run into it, and then he decides to hide in an empty tanker.
Smart.
What the fuck, kid? Are you that stupid? Oh my god. Like I said, I could talk about this shit forever. There's just so much hilarity.
Yeah,
contained within it.
go see the stuff.
It's Play Instant on
Yeah,
Netflix
play
right
it
now.
on
You,
Netflix.
you will not regret this decision. Keep those expectations low and just enjoy yourself, because you're gonna have a good time.
Now you got to see Q the Winged Serpent.
I know, I'm very excited for that. I just want to see more Michael Moriarty being a drunk asshole.
Oh, you'll get it with Q the Winged Serpent.
Fantastic.
I still like this stuff better, but we'll see what you think of that when you
I
check
would.
it out.
I mean, you're telling me Larry Cohen, Michael Moriarty, a winged serpent living in New York.
And
I'm in.
David Carradine is in it as well.
Oh shit! You didn't. I don't know if I remembered that, but come on, I'm totally in. And then I followed this up with Jodorowsky's Santa Sangre. Have you seen this?
No.
This horror film? Well, it's just a surrealist psycho. That's all it is.
Hmm.
With circus folk.
Well, according to this, I'm supposed to forget everything I have ever seen.
Sure, sure. It's not. Number one, it's 1989, so this is late Jodorowsky. All right, it is surreal as all hell. It's very bizarre, experimental. But this is actually more like a straightforward narrative for him. And like I said, it's psycho. It's really just psycho, except that it takes place in a circus. And the little boy's mother is a part of this like church where they pray to a saint, which was a little girl that got raped and had both of her arms cut off.
Hmm.
So she's like totally into that. So what happens is she catches her husband having sex with the tattooed woman from the circus, and she throws acid in his face and on his junk,
Hmm.
and he then cuts her arms off. And of course, the little boy sees all of this, so he's damaged, as you know, you could fathom. And the dad comes out, and he sees his dad cut his own throat and all that stuff. So, and then it takes place when he's older, and now he's attacking women left and right, killing them, because he's possessed by his mother. Psycho. Like I said, it's just psycho. The film, like the production, the art design, everything that goes into a Jodorowsky movie is like usual. It's top notch. It's just some of the best things you've ever seen. Just the creativity and the set designs and everything that they build and all the costumes that they build. It's just unbelievable how much creativity his team had back then and what they were able to do. But also, like the problem that most of his films have is that he just wears out his welcome because it's like over two hours long, and it really starts to drag in the middle. I mean, just mind-numbingly boring in the middle, and you just can't wait for it to be over. And then when it finally gets to the end, they do sort of the twist ending, if you want to call it that. It's like, oh, the ending's good, but you just have to sit through so much boredom in the middle that I have a feeling most people get lost by the time it gets to the end. They just don't care anymore, because I was on the verge of not caring at all. I essentially, when the ending came, I was just like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. And I was just so happy that it was done. But one of the main things is it's now I understand Only God Forgives a little bit more. Like I understand him like looking at his hands all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what the character in this film gets obsessed with, his hands and his arms, because his mom, of course, had her arms cut off. So that made me hate Only God Forgives even more. So Nicholas Winding Refn is he's lucky that I didn't see this before I saw that, because I would have hated that film so much more. And I'm just really peeved by that ending now, of him like name dropping at the end of the film, which I think is the first time we've ever seen that, someone name drop in their film.
Probably. I mean, certainly in other movies, people have been thanked in the credits, but definitely not.
But nothing just, that prominent, like right at the end. Boom! This is for Jodorowsky.
I can't wait to see Jodorowsky's Dune. I'm really excited to see that.
Is he actually going to finally make that?
No, it's a documentary about it. About like what happened.
Okay.
But apparently,
I know he does have a new film out.
Apparently, they have like so much stuff with that they pretty much could make it, but
they should do that. But yeah, he had the Dance of Reality, which was his newest one, which I think it's just like a biography film. But Santa Sangre, a light recommend. It's definitely got some crazy visuals in there. But overall, it's just a huge disappointment. Big letdown. And then the only logical place to go next is Shakespeare.
Of Of course.
Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing, which I have to say is the most I've ever enjoyed one of these modern retellings.
Well, I read your Letterboxd review, and it made me think if this was the most, and I thought, yeah, it is the most I've
Yeah,
enjoyed one of these. But then I thought, wait, how many of these have I seen? And I was like maybe 3 or 4.
yeah, yeah. Let me put that out there right now that I'm in the same boat as you. I think I've only seen maybe like 4 or 5 of these.
Well, you
You
saw
know,
Coriolanus. I didn't see
yeah,
that.
which that was actually, I mean, for how those types of movies go and how much I usually disdain them, I would say that that's number 2, which it's still not saying much because I hate these films. But like the staging of this entire retelling was great, and I loved the main thing that I really liked about Whedon's retelling is, he wasn't allowed to make any edits to the script. Obviously, he just keeps the entire play word for word the way that it was. But I do love the fact that he was able to add like these reactions and the way that they delivered some of the lines
Yeah.
that sort of switched it up a little bit. Like when the characters are, trying to get Benedict to fall in love with Beatrice, and he's like, eavesdropping on them, and the one character is like extremely over the top with trying to sell this idea, and the other two characters are like trying to tone them down. I thought, those little changes I thought were fantastic and really added to it, especially like Nathan Fillion near the end, like
Mm-hmm.
the comedy that he brought to it, especially to see where they locked the keys in the car, which just cracked me up for whatever reason. All that stuff I thought it was great. It's just little edits
Yeah,
to
and,
it
and that's the
that
thing.
just made it better.
Yeah, it was like little comedic beats that he put in there that didn't detract from the play at all. It just kind of added a little bit to it to make it just more enjoyable.
Yes, definitely. It just, gave it that much needed levity, just to lighten the mood a little bit. Because, I mean, Shakespeare's just heavy stuff. It's just ridiculous. But the thing that got me was just overall was the uneven performances. And now I know you're dealing with non-Shakespeare actors, so you sort of know that going in that it's going to be a little spotty here and there. But I was surprised by Frank Kranz, who I honestly thought going in that he was going to be the one that was going to be terrible, and I was wrong. He was great. He completely surprised me and blew me away. But Alexis Denisov, I have no idea if that's how you pronounce his name or not, who plays Benedict. He was the cringe-worthy one for me. And then the difficult thing is that he has tons more lines than Krantz,
Yeah.
and you have to put up with his Benedict for entirely too long. It's just it came off as he was trying so hard to sell his lines. It was rough to watch. But overall, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I have to be quite honest, that's pretty high praise because I genuinely do not like these films at all.
Well, like I was telling you off air, I don't know if I mentioned it when I talked about this before. I think I did, but either way, I'm going to reiterate. This didn't have me at the beginning. I was not
No,
really into it.
it starts off very slow.
And for some reason, and I can't even say at what point, but at some point in the film, maybe like the beginning of the second act or something, it just grabbed me, and I was way more into it than I thought I would be. And I don't even know what it was. I don't even know what did it. But all of
I
a
think
sudden, I was just like really, really into this movie.
I think for me it was when they devised the plan to get Beatrix
Yeah,
and
maybe that was it.
Benedict, and just the way that sort of unfolded.
Maybe that was it.
Because for me that's when the comedic beats started really showing up.
Mm-hmm.
But before that it was just like people essentially like an exercise of them just reading a Shakespeare play.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just really slow and just them walking around talking to each other, and you're like, oh my God, are you guys going to do anything? Are you just going to fucking talk to each other? And luckily they did. So it was definitely a lot more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. I was pleasantly surprised.
Check it out.
And then the one that we both saw is We Are What We Are.
Now, I seem to remember you saying that you did see the original. Did you see?
Yes, I did see the original, which is odd for whatever reason, that just seems really odd to me that I watched the original.
I think it's very odd. That's why I asked again because I
Because
thought
did you see the
no,
original?
I never saw it. So I was thinking maybe you thought it was a different movie a couple weeks ago when we talked about this the first time.
No, I definitely saw the original.
Well, either way, this I don't as far as these remakes go, sometimes I think like why is this being remade? But the interesting thing about this one, and I'm sure that you can speak to this more than I can. It seems like the setting that the remake was done in fit with the story.
Yeah, it's weird because at first glance it seems like sort of what we were talking about with American Psycho, where they just do like a bizarro because in the original the father dies and the eldest son is put in charge and
Oh,
they have to do everything. So in this one you're just thinking, oh, okay, so they have the mother die and the eldest daughter's in charge now. Okay, you didn't really change it that much, but the setting is completely different and the remake, Jim Mickles' version, sort of goes into this. It's all sort of this loosely religious based, like it's a family tradition that
right.
they're doing. That's the reason. And with the other one, the original, it was sort of like a metaphor for poverty and capitalism and that type of
Uh,
deal.
well, I
And it
guess
took place in like the poor gritty sections of Mexico with police corruption and all that type of stuff.
seems like this one is more fitting in the story to me. I don't know.
A little bit, and also in the original, like the children, like when the eldest son is put in charge of this, he still had to go out and get someone.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So he actually had to go out and hunt and find someone and bring them back to the house and kill them. Where here, they already have the person.
Right.
They just have to prepare them.
Well, I guess we should step back a little bit and talk about what this is all about. So it's like this very kind of backwoods. Does it take place in the Appalachians? Because it probably
I think
seems like it does.
I read and I actually put in my review, so I'm hoping that I was correct in seeing that it takes place in the Catskills, which is, pretty much the same.
So
But
yeah,
not entirely.
takes place in the mountainous
Mountains.
regions,
That's right.
and it's about a family, super religious family that have for generations have eaten people.
That's right.
That is the very short summary
Hmm.
of
They eat
this one.
people.
And
People eaters.
so I was pretty into this movie. I wasn't blown away by it. Like there wasn't anything about it that will make me remember this a year from now.
Yeah.
But that being said, it was still very well made. Like
Hmm.
it was a lot better looking than I thought it would be from a visual standpoint, and the acting, the performances were a lot better than I thought they would be. I mean, I didn't really have any preconceived notions about the performances, but I thought they're really good. I mean, I love Michael Parks in pretty much anything that he's in. And I thought that the two girls, Amber Childers, and is Julia Garner the other one?
Hmm.
I thought that they were great, and I remember Julia Garner from Electric Children, which is actually kind of similar to this movie. She was also in Martha, Marcy May, Marlene, which was
So
again, yeah,
she's got a lot of background in cults so far.
yeah. And then
To a
Amber
certain
Childers
extent.
was in The Master, and I actually know her from the show Ray Donovan.
Oh, Ray Donovan.
Yeah, she's in Ray Donovan.
Nice.
I thought that they were really good.
Oh yeah, they did. They delivered very strong performances. They pretty much carry the entire film, and they make up for the father's performance, who's Bill Sage, who I just thought
I
was
thought he was horrible.
he was terrible.
Yeah, like I thought that he was really bad. Every time he
Mm.
was in a scene, I was like, ugh, here we go.
And yeah, I felt the exact same way. And just one thing to mark with the it being a remake, it's weird because like the first one wasn't even that good. Like the first one was meh. So you sort of think like when I saw this was happening, I'm thinking to myself, why are you remaking a film that was already like meh to begin with? why is this happening? But like you said, it's well made, and I like that they go for the slow burn effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes forever
Mm-hmm.
to get where it needs to be. The only problem is you know exactly where it's going. You
Right.
know what's going to happen. So all of it just becomes tiresome, really.
Yeah, like the fact that in the beginning we said that they eat people, that's not a spoiler. That's not
No.
something that they hit you with at the end where you're like, "Whoa." Like, from the
You
beginning.
know right off the bat what's going to happen. So they go for like an hour of it, maybe even a little over an hour of build up. And honestly, it gets very boring after like in the slightly in the beginning you're like, oh, okay, I like the way they're building the atmosphere and the tension and everything. And then they sort of just keep going over the same things and just keep building and building. And by the time they finally get to the end, you're just bored out of your mind because you know what's going to
Right.
happen.
And this isn't an entirely new movie. There's a lot of movies that carry this same kind of tone, and even
Yeah.
even like visually, the way it looks. There's a lot of movies like this. I mean, Jugface is probably one that's very similar to this, and so it isn't something that it's not something entirely new, but I think that it is well made, and there were a couple things that I liked in it. The all the detective stuff, like with Michael Parks investigating the bones and trying to figure out where they're coming from and who could have done it and stuff. I liked all that stuff.
Hmm.
For some reason, the scene when he was going through the textbooks and like finding the disease that they have or whatever,
Hmm.
like I don't know why, but I really liked that kind of montage scene. I did write a one word keyword here that I wanted to come back to, and that's lanterns.
Yeah.
They
The
use
power,
they use
yeah, the power goes out, and it's just nothing but candles and lanterns.
well, and that was like kind of the funny thing because as I was watching it, there's so many lanterns in this movie, and I'm like,
Who has
who
lanterns?
uses lanterns? And I noticed that they all had the same lanterns too. Like the neighbor, she has the exact same lantern as the other
Well,
people.
they probably only have one general store, and they probably only carry one type of lantern.
But see, that was the weird thing about this movie. Like in one instance, this family is supposed to be this like secluded backwoods, whatever. But at the same time, they all speak very intelligently. Like
Hmm.
they don't sound like they're backwoods,
No.
homeschooled, whatever. They all seem like they're very intelligent, and they also seem like they kind of know what's going on in the world around them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it
they
seems
definitely do.
so it seems odd when the lights go out and they're carrying around old timey lanterns.
They seem
Like
to be
it
stuck
just
in a time period,
yeah.
that's completely different from the rest of the world. They have their old-timey clothes, they have their
Hmm.
lanterns, just plethora of lanterns. And everyone else is in the present, and they also seem to be completely secluded, but at the same time their neighbors like right there, right beside them. And hell, they own like a trailer park.
Yeah, and I noticed that their truck was like a newer truck. It looked, halfway decent. It wasn't some rusted out old, Ford. It was like a newer looking truck. And, they know how to use cell phones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
it's a very confusing film for me. It didn't seem. It seems like they didn't know what they wanted it to be. It's just
yeah,
constantly at odds with itself. The big
yeah.
thing for me that really got me is, they're doing a pretty good job of building up this tension and everything in the beginning of the film, but yet they completely undermine it by playing this overly melodramatic piano music that's, sort of suggesting to you that like, oh, we're taking this very, very seriously. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, you shouldn't be. Don't fucking do that because it's awful. It just seems silly. Like everything is just now silly. It just becomes terrible, and it's all by their own doing. Like these decisions that didn't need to be made that they made that just completely undermined everything.
I think when you have a movie like this, the score should fit the atmosphere, like the setting.
Yeah.
Like why? I don't like it when they do that in movies where like the score just doesn't fit with where this is taking
And
place.
it's really weird because then they do they have that type of music going on. When they're sitting down to eat, they play like the old folksy music, which makes complete
Mm-hmm.
sense, and it does add to the atmosphere of what's going on. But the one scene where the father stops, there's a person on the side of the road with like a flat tire or whatever. Then they use like electronic, like tension music, which feels completely out of place because they never used anything like it ever
Right.
in the film besides that one scene.
I also didn't quite understand the choice of doing the days, showing
There
the
was no need for that. That was
like I didn't get what the point of that was. I liked those scenes, like when the one was like over the were they like cooking breakfast or
yeah,
something and it popped up, and then the one was like over the stream. Like I liked the look of that, but I didn't
it's just
understand why it was needed.
completely superfluous. Just
Because do we need to know what day of the week it is? Like what does that lend itself?
I get,
Is that important?
maybe just to let you know like how many days away they are from Lamb's Day, I guess.
Oh, see, I didn't get that.
Because well, like they do their whole fasting, and then Lamb's Day is when they finally get to eat.
Yeah, but I still didn't.
That's the only reason I can think of it.
Probably, but I didn't really
But
get.
I mean, yeah, you don't really get a sense of that.
I also, and I don't want to spoil the end or anything, but I didn't like the
No,
ending
the
either.
ending just,
It felt
uh,
it felt completely against everything that they were trying to do.
exactly. It turns
Like
into like a B movie at the end. For me, it did.
yeah,
It turned completely silly.
yeah, I did not. Is that how the original one ended as
No,
well?
the original ends pretty horrifically. I actually really like the ending, like the very last scene of the original. But
Hmm.
it's completely different.
Okay.
It's just, I mean, someone gets hit with a frying pan.
Yeah. There were a couple shocks in it, like the one scene when one of them is with a guy and something
Yeah,
happens.
that
I
caught me
I
off guard.
knew I knew something was gonna happen, but I didn't know when, and it was still a
Yeah,
surprise to me when
the way
that.
that they did it was
Yeah,
it was yeah, that got me a little bit. I freaked out a little bit
yeah,
there. But that's it.
that was
That's
really
it. That's all you got.
yeah that was really the only the only thing. Like when they were actually like sort of preparing their meal or whatever, I wasn't really
And
affected
and
by
this is
that
a
too
very
much.
very small quibble, but it just really pissed me off because I find it insulting. You know,
Is it smaller than lanterns?
it,
Because that's a pretty small
it
quibble.
might not be smaller than lanterns. No, it's not. But it's a little bit bigger than lanterns. But the first night that they prepare their meal and they sit down and they eat it, the way that they end that scene is the extreme close up of the father's face, like of his
Mm,
mouth as he's eating it,
yeah.
and I'm just sitting there thinking, yeah, I fucking get it. They're eating people. Like, is that really necessary?
And of course, they amp up the sound
Yeah.
detail on that too, so you can hear
Oh
everything.
my. It really deteriorates at the end for me because most of the film I'm thinking, you know what, this isn't too bad. I like this slow burn approach that they're going, even though they fuck it up a little bit with the music and stuff. And this isn't too bad. And then the ending comes around, and I'm like, oh well, they just wasted everything. Good job.
Yeah, I did not. I was not on board with the end, unfortunately, at all. But this does have an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes,
You got
so
shitting me.
critics are definitely liking this one. The only thing I can think of is that these are not predominantly horror movie critics. These aren't. I don't think that maybe these aren't critics that see a lot of horror movies, because I really didn't see a lot in this that I haven't seen many
Yeah.
times
Well,
over.
that was. I always have that trouble when I'm doing a review for the site. Like if I'm doing a horror movie, I'm always worried because I'm not a horror movie guy.
Right?
And
Yeah.
then the main
Well.
thing that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to. All I see is people. All they do is mention the original, and they got to tell you like
Hmm.
how the story's different. But honestly, most of the people that are probably seeing this haven't seen the original. I mean, the original wasn't that big of a movie.
Right. I mean, I didn't even
And I
see
mean,
it.
yeah, and it
So
wasn't even like well received. This isn't like let the right one in type deal. That's not what we're dealing with
right.
here. We're dealing with really a small Mexican horror film that barely anyone saw, for some reason got remade.
For most people, I would still say check this out. Like for me, it wasn't anything special, but I think for people that don't regularly watch horror movies that are looking for something that's at least somewhat well made for Halloween, I think that this is one that you could probably enjoy.
And yeah, that's definitely one of the things for me too, to sort of glean from everything from this film, is he does a really good job the way that he films it, and the way, the slow burn approach and everything. As long as he just makes some better decisions next time around with the horror film, like I have a feeling that he's gonna make some pretty stellar horror films if he stays in that arena.
Could be. I mean, he did do Mulberry Street and Stakeland, which are also horror films.
Yeah.
And Stakeland I did not like at all.
Okay.
And Mulberry Street, I don't even remember. Wait, did I see that?
Well, that right there is enough to know that.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't see that. I didn't see Mulberry Street, but Stakeland was. I was not into that. That's a vampire story. It's kind of an interesting vampire story, but I was not on board with that one. It wasn't horrible. I'll say it's not horrible,
Okay.
but
And the other thing, how people get into the whole it's a remake and this and that. The story is different enough that it's not really a remake. Like he really changed a lot of like what the message of the film is about and really why they do this. But I mean, if he just came up with that story himself, then people would be like, "Oh, he's ripping off that Mexican horror movie from 2 years ago." So it's one of those like double-edged swords where he has
Yeah.
to say that it's a remake because the idea is there and he's using the title.
I wonder if that's ever happened where like a writer would write a script and then find that like, oh shit, this movie is the exact same as this other movie that came out that I didn't even know about. And if they ever approach that person, we're like, hey, can we just call this a remake?
I would
wonder
not
if
be
that's ever
surprised,
happened.
especially in the genre of horror. Because like,
Yeah.
if I were to come up with a film about a cannibal family, hell, there's got to be a cannibal family movie out there somewhere.
It's
aren't
got to
there?
be hard. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different things now. Zombie movie. Well, hell, how many fucking zombie movies have been made? What can you really do? I'm sure even if you try and write a script that doesn't incorporate anything that's in a previous zombie film, that would be very difficult to do, I would think.
I know that it sounded like I was kind of shitting on this movie a lot, but I still do kind of recommend it. Light recommend.
Yeah, I would say a light recommend on my end too.
I don't think I rated it on Letterboxd, but I'm probably going to give it a 3.
Okay, I went 5 out of 10 on the
5
website.
out of 10. So
But the
Not
weird
two-
thing
two
is
and a
that
half.
when I do go to Letterboxd, 2.5 seems too low.
right,
but
yeah.
three-
See, that's why I don't do the exact, double.
Well,
thing.
for me too, though, I was like 3. That seems a bit high. I don't know.
I'm sticking with the 3 on that.
I think
one.
I'm just flip flopping between 2.5 and 3 forever.
Okay. So like you'll just change it every day.
Every day, just back and forth.
All right, let's go over some predictions. Last week we said Kill Your Darlings. I said 79. You said 77. Actual 72.
Okay.
Carrie. I said 57. You said 52. Actual 51. It's 2 for you.
Nice.
Escape Plan. I said 40. You said 55. Actual 46. The Fifth Estate. I said 42. You said 40. Actual 40.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fifth Estate.
Not too good. Not too good.
Fifth Estate.
All's Lost. I said 90. You said 79. Actual 95. And finally, 12 Years a Slave. I said 92. You said 95. Actual 95.
12 Years a Slave is pissing me off because
Okay.
I see it everywhere. Like, like it's the movie event of the year. Like, every website I go to has banner ads and this and that. And I'm seeing articles everywhere and I can't see it. And I hate when that happens. I hate when a film gets so much buzz, but yet half of the world can't see the damn thing.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Pisses me off. I mean, they're talking about it like it's, wide release. It's getting so much damn attention. And I just gotta sit and wait.
Sit and wait like an
Yeah, I
asshole.
gotta watch We Are What We Are instead. Why everyone else is talking about like maybe perhaps the best film of the year.
Well, same thing with All Is Lost
I know,
too.
yeah,
People are
that,
losing their minds over that one also.
and I'm sitting here like, "Ooh, We Are What We Are is, it's not too bad."
Let me see what's on Netflix.
Sons of
Oh,
bitches.
I forgot to mention. I wanted to mention real quick. Those of you that do want to see some horror movies, Crackle is they are having like a big horror movie thing where they have like dozens of horror movies available for
Oh
free
yeah,
to stream.
nice.
Yeah, so check that out. Last night I started watching Brain Scan,
Okay.
starring Edward Furlong and Frank Langella,
Yes.
which is about Edward Furlong gets an interactive CD-ROM from Fangoria magazine.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That sounds amazing.
that yeah, it's supposed to be like a video game, but it like turns him into a killer. And I fell asleep, but it looks like it's gonna be pretty great. I'm gonna finish it today,
Okay.
featuring music by Primus and White Zombie.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it is such a '90s movie. I love it.
fantastic.
All right, next week we have The Counselor.
Okay.
Pretty excited about this, although I am sick of seeing the trailer. What do you think on The Counselor? Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. Let's say like a 60.
Okay. I would say like 68. And then we have Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa. Something tells me that people are going to like this. There have been some early reviews coming out and stuff, and people are saying that it's hilarious. So I'll say 72.
Ooh, I'm gonna go to 76.
Limited release, we have Blue is the Warmest Color. Pretty excited for that one.
Yay.
Blood Brother. Not excited for Blue is the Warmest Color.
Not really, no.
I heard great things about it. I'm pretty excited. And we have Blood Brother and I Am Divine. Hitting limited release.
All right.
Video on demand, we have Sal, which is finally coming out. That's one by James Franco.
It's like one of 80 by James Franco.
Yeah. This is one that he made a long time ago. It originally screened at Venice, the Venice Film Festival in 2011. It's finally coming out. We also have Our Day Will Come, which is another one that was made a long time ago. This is back in 2010. That one was made.
Wow.
Oscilloscope is putting it out. And finally, Losers Take All is hitting VOD, and that's a movie about a punk band in the 80s.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to definitely be better than that CBGB garbage.
For some reason, when I look at the cover, I just think Airheads.
I haven't seen the cover. I'm sure that it doesn't look great or anything, but I might check it out.
Follow-up, do you remember Airheads?
Of course I remember Airheads.
Yeah.
Kidding me? The Lone Rangers?
Fucking awesome.
DVD and Blu-ray releases. We have Before Midnight. That's a big one.
All right.
I'm pretty excited to revisit that. Definitely one of my favorite movies. Might be my favorite movie of the year.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Midnight.
it.
You'll hate it. The Conjuring. I give it a year. I know you're excited for that one.
Oh, yeah.
The Internship.
Oh, man. Solid week.
The Way, Way Back, which I still haven't seen.
Yeah,
so
you're not
I'll
missing
probably
anything. I wouldn't jump out, rush out and see it.
I'll give it a watch.
Just take your time. You don't have to rush.
Also, Only God Forgives and Necessary Evil, the supervillains of DC Comics.
Oh, wow. I'm also seeing Paradise Fave, second film, Paradise Trilogy.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm seeing that on there. I'm waiting for all three of them. I want to watch all three just one after the other.
Well, actually,
and just
it's fun.
Curl
Funny you
up
mentioned
in a
that.
room and just sob for like 5 days.
Funny you mentioned that. I'm about to see Paradise Hope, I think, today.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Yeah.
about to finish off the trilogy.
There you go.
You do not want to watch all of them
all together. All on the same day, buddy.
Trust me, you do not want to watch
I
them all
told you.
together.
I took a week off from work. Just after I watch all three, I'm just going to sob in the fetal position in the room. I should be all right. Think
Alright.
I should survive. I would survive. I think.
Forgot to mention, did you see the Grand Budapest Hotel trailer?
Jesus God, yes.
I watched it like 4 times already.
I had immediately lost my shit. Just lost it.
It's amazing.
I can't wait.
Any others? DVD?
They're re-releasing the John Cassavetes box set, 5 films from Criterion on Blu-ray, which, check this out, most definitely. You got Shadows, Faces, Woman Under the Influence, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, and Opening Night.
That's exciting.
I have the original. Mine's actually a knockoff. I think mine's like the Chinese version or something, which is awesome. It's a fantastic box set. It's great. And I'm contemplating buying it on Blu-ray.
Probably should.
Yeah, and then there's one other one called The Uninvited, which is a 1944 horror film from Lewis Allen, which I've never heard of.
Now there was actually a new one called The Uninvited. I don't know if it's a remake though.
It might be. Is it about a haunted house, and there's a ghost, and there's a romantic triangle involved in the ghost?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think I saw the... It might be a remake. I know that it's a ghost story.
Boom. It's a remake. Probably in one way or another.
Yeah.
Classic Hollywood.
All right. Well, I think that will do it. For all the latest film news and reviews, visit us at filmpulse.net. Send us an email, feedback to filmpulse.net. Follow us on Twitter at filmpulse.net, and be sure to rate us on iTunes. We appreciate that very much. For filmpulse.net, my name is Adam.
And I'm Kevin.
And we will see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches Movie.
From my Electra.
And Kristen Stahl.